Welcome to our Devos this week, where we are talking about being a living sacrifice. I don't know if you've ever thought about what that means, being a living sacrifice, but there is a very practical consideration in the New Testament that kind of outlines exactly what this looks like, and it's in Romans chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. Now, early on, we talked about verse 1. So today we're going to focus again on verse 2. And we're really going to dive into what does a living sacrifice look like? Like what happens to a person who is completely committed to not living their life for themselves? There's some practical advice that the Apostle Paul gives. And in Romans chapter 12, verse 1 and 2, we're going to skip right to 2 here. He says, don't be conformed to this world, but be transformed. So he tells you what not to do, which we talked about yesterday. Do not be conformed. So don't always try to make your life look like everybody else's, but be transformed. I'm going to stop right there on transformed, okay? And here's something that, again, this might rub some of you wrong, and it's okay. I want you, as a living sacrifice, as someone that really believes that their life is not their own, I want you to recognize that your life should be changing. It should be changing. Now, I'm not saying that you jump onto a fad. I'm not saying that you jump onto something that you don't agree with or believe in. But what I'm saying is there should always be something in your life that the Holy Spirit is working on that causes you to say, I'm feeling challenged in this area. I remember, and some of you were like this, you might remember, but in high school, when you had yearbooks, and some of your kids have yearbooks, and you know those things, and you have to get the yearbook signatures, meaning you have classmates that sign yearbooks, and they write little notes in there, little anecdotes, little things that you can look at when you're 20 years older and say, oh, I remember that, and you get those feelings of emotion or whatever. I'm not particularly sentimental. So one day I was reading through my yearbook, and one of the things that kept popping up, one of the statements that people would make in the yearbook is these two words, don't change. Do you remember that? Remember, say, oh, don't change. Don't ever change. You know what? You just stay you. Don't ever change. And when you're, 18 years old and you're about to face this new world, you're like, yeah, that's so great. I'm perfect. I shouldn't change. But if you really think about it, that is the worst advice that anyone could ever give you, whether they're a Christian or not. I get the sentiment. It's saying, you're so good. You should just stay how you are. But I believe the opposite. I believe that you should challenge yourself to change in every way possible, whether that means professionally, whether that means relationally, and specifically for the subject that we're dealing with, definitely spiritually. There should be changes in you. If, as a Christian, you think, live, act, and do the same things exactly the way that you did a year ago without really looking at your life and seeing, am I different here? Am I focused differently here? Am I looking for different ways to glorify God? If you aren't changing, something's not right. And again, I'm not saying that it has to be something radical. It just might be the matter of something that you learn about God, and because of it, it changes how you relate to Him. It might not be necessarily something that happens every day that you change, but it's something. There should be something. One of the things that changed my prayer life at the beginning of 2019 was this idea, and it really did. It changed how I look at spiritual connection to God and how I view reading the Bible. This idea, one sentence, changed me forever, and it was the fact that God actually likes me. As a child of God, He likes me, and you've heard me say that, and the reason why I repeat that is because it really changed me. And I started to examine in the Scriptures how deeply Jesus loved and how much He cared for those that followed Him, and the deep, intimate conversations they had. And a lot of times it's easy to kind of divorce that. Well, that's something transformational, where you take something that God reveals to you and you adjust your life according to that thing that God reveals to you. I want to challenge you today. I want you to change. Not because I don't think you're great the way you are, but it's because God is working on your life. He's doing something different. He's doing a new thing. He's changing in you and recreating you to be the person that He's called you to be. It's a good thing. It's a healthy thing. And it also shows that God's work in you isn't done. And I say that because you, like me, are living sacrifices. And a living sacrifice is constantly being transformed by the one who has called him to that transformation.